Greetings, loved ones. Today, we're going to talk about getting your children out of harm's way. Escaping abuse should be an urgent concern when children are involved. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit that like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others because you never know, just by doing so, you could save a life. We need to learn more about protecting children from domestic violence. So let's talk about getting kids out of harm's way, and later some important facts about potential outcomes of children experiencing violence. Millions of children each year are exposed to domestic violence in their homes, and even more children witness or experience domestic violence over their lifetimes. Non-abusive parents would never want that kind of life for their children, and yet many survivors feel stuck. When little ones are in a household where domestic violence is occurring, it can make leaving twice as challenging. A survivor might worry that the children will be scarred by the changes that come with abruptly escaping or separating them from the other parent. And many abusers use children as tools for power and control. They may threaten to harm the children if the survivor leaves, or say they will take them away before the survivor can escape. Even after the survivor leaves, many abusers use children as pawns in court. Fighting for custody, they may not even want, just to terrorize the survivor or convince her to return. While the danger and stress that comes with leaving is undoubtedly high, staying could bring even more risk. Research shows that exposing children to domestic violence can have both immediate and long-term negative effects. So short-term, these can include problems with anger and disobedience, higher rates of depression, feelings of fear and anxiety, low self-esteem, trouble concentrating and completing tasks, and higher rates of delinquency and substance abuse, including alcohol abuse. Research shows that long-term children exposed to domestic violence have an increased tolerance for and use of violence in their own adult relationships. This means there's a higher risk of continuing the cycle of a child either entering a relationship with an abuser or becoming an abuser themselves. Despite these findings, not all children exposed to domestic violence are guaranteed to go down a negative path. According to the Child Welfare Information Gateway, children's risk levels and reactions to domestic violence exist on a continuum. Some children demonstrate enormous resiliency, while others show signs of significant maladaptive adjustment. They say factors such as social competence, intelligence, high self-esteem, and supportive relationship with an adult, especially the non-abusive parent, can help protect children from the adverse effects of exposure to domestic violence. That's good news, at least for those who can break free from the cycle of abuse. So how do you do that? According to womenslaw.org, before leaving an abusive partner, a survivor should consider first speaking to a lawyer or advocate who specializes in domestic violence and custody issues. This will help ensure that the survivor won't be violating any court custody orders or criminal parenting kidnapping laws. This is especially important if the survivor intends to travel to another state or country with the children. Yet, keep in mind that leaving children with an abuser can negatively affect a survivor's chance of getting custody of them in court later. Next, work with a domestic violence advocate to develop a safety plan for leaving with your children. It's better to loop in the kids regarding what's going on rather than keeping them in the dark. And depending on their age, they can be trusted with varying levels of information and can play a role in helping to keep the whole family safe. So plan out where to go, and this could be a friend or family member's house, preferably one the abuser isn't familiar with to ensure yours and their safety. Otherwise, consider a shelter temporarily. Domestic violence shelters will generally welcome children as well as adults. Most shelters are for adult women only, but some shelters will also help male survivors and their children. However, male survivors might stay in an off-site housing option such as a hotel for the safety and comfort of the female participants in the shelter. Depending on the shelter, some will even provide on-site schooling for children if the survivor feels it's unsafe for her children to attend their normal school. It is a good idea to seek out a shelter that is not in your immediate area or neighborhood, making it more difficult should the abuser try and locate you. Most shelters will allow survivors and children to stay with them for up to 90 days, though this could be longer or shorter depending on extenuating circumstances and availability. It's vital for survivors to work with counselors and advocates to come up with next steps for their continued safe living. With 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide, and even more children witnessing the violence, the question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. We are all called to be champions for justice, and those who suffer violence need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will reach out and step out to give them the courage and the help they need to leave before it's too late. Please help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You never know, just by doing so, you could save a life. If you are a victim of violence, listen to me. You've been listening to lies for so long. I want you to know you are valued, you are loved, you're intelligent, you are beautiful. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live in peace and tranquility, and there is a way out. It's not your fault, and abuse is not love. If you're a victim of violence, please reach out to somebody today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child suffering violence, tell the authorities. Tomorrow we're going to talk about children and domestic violence, leading facts and statistics related to children and domestic violence. Until then, God bless you.